shame. You don't think like, damn, this is kind of embarrassing. I had the opportunity to learn who I am. It's as simple as a Google study. What percentage of whites are killed by whites? And then all of a sudden you're like, that doesn't strike you as like, well, geez, I can't be a rational person. Like the most basic assumption would be to check the analog. Foundational Black Americans, that's a different ethnic group. You're a fucking Nigerian, young man. So that is comparable to someone being Chinese and saying, well, you're not a foundational young man. It's good to see you again.
It's good to see you. I was obviously watching. I saw your title saying "Should Blacks Care?" So I thought,
should the blacks care?
I thought I'd come on and say what I'm thinking. So fundamentally, obviously, I don't think it's good that anyone dies because of debating on what they believe in.
Do you mind if I throw in a couple questions as you go through?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so I just want to throw in a question now because we want to question the assumption so that we can build into your conclusion. Yep. So you stated that you don't think it's good that anyone dies.
Yeah, and especially in the way Charlie Kirk did.
So is it the method of death that's bad, or is it just the fact that he died?
You could say the fact that he was assassinated, that someone else intentionally took his life for what he believed in.
So is that ever acceptable?
No, I don't think it's ever acceptable to.
Okay, so I'm just going to repeat back what you said just to make sure I understand.
Yeah.
So you're stating that it's never acceptable to kill someone for what they believe in.
Yes.
I'm going to say that one more time, just to make sure I have it correctly.
Okay.
It's never acceptable to kill someone for what they believe in.
No, I don't think it's ever acceptable.
Okay. So here's a classic example that I think is very predictable. So you should know that I'm about to ask you this. I remember you very well. You came on before and I advised you to be prepared. So I trust that you're at least a touch more prepared than last time. And so you should be able to anticipate this question, which is, if you could take the life of Adolf Hitler before he committed atrocities based on what he believes in, would you do it?
No, I wouldn't take his life based on what he believes in. I absolutely wouldn't. I believe everyone has a right to free speech to say what they want to say, but I wouldn't take his life based on what he believes in. I'd try and debate him and try and change.
You try to debate him? You try to debate Hitler? He's a wild nigga, boy.
I would. I mean, I know how it sounds, but I absolutely would try and debate.
Sounds crazy.
Any instance where you should try and take someone's life, because that just leads to more violence. I think it's quite harmful, and I think that everyone should try and
So is violence always a bad thing?
No, it's not always a bad thing, but particularly when you're talking like disagreements on even ideologies, I don't think you should ever be violent towards someone who's being non-violent, who's like debating which Charlie Kirk was.
Okay. All right. So with regards to our Hitler example, you're saying that you would not kill Hitler if you could. And let me just give you some context to make it easy for you. If you could take the life of Hitler and suffer no consequences whatsoever, except the only consequence being you would remove someone from the earth who's very wicked and very influential, you would not take his life.
I know how it sounds, but it's just, I mean, I think most people in that scenario, if you were there, for example, a lot of people bring up when Hitler was maybe a baby. If you were there, could you actually do that to a child or a baby without, I mean.
No, he's not a baby. Let's just say that he's 25 years old. So he's a proper adult. Not only that, he's been in the military. He's an Austrian-born individual. I think he was born in Linz, and he went into the German military, which is ironic, different times at that point. He had just finished coming out of World War I. He had received, I believe, an Iron Cross for bravery. And you catch him somewhere in the pub, and you have the opportunity to take his life with no consequence whatsoever, and you would thereby prevent all of the atrocities. Would you take his life?
I see how you said thereby prevent all of the atrocities, and I'll answer your question, but genuinely looking at the country at the time, Germany at that time, with a lot of famine, a lot of issues.
Did you say famine?
As in, like, when I say famine, I mean, it was.
They didn't have a famine. They had hyperinflation.
Yeah, hyperinflation. But people were struggling. They're struggling to find jobs. The country was in quite a poor state. I feel like there would have been someone else who would have risen up. I think he was created by the circumstances in which he arose in. So I feel like I'm not sure.
Let's engage that for a moment. You failed to answer a yes or no question, which is fine, but let's engage your suggestion. There's no doubt that there are certain individuals that they're not created by a time, but they step into an epoch, into a moment in history, and they're able to achieve extraordinary things by their unique mix of natural gifts and skills. Vladimir Lenin is one such person. Adolf Hitler is another. For example, we can all concede that we've observed very few speakers that have his harmony of word and body and his manic intensity that wraps crowds around his fingers. Furthermore, he was someone who was actually hired by the military to infiltrate a small, little-known party that came to be known as the NSDAP, the National Socialist Workers' Party, Nationalsozialistische Deutsches Arbeiterspartei. And it was little-known party. It was a small party, an irrelevant party. And he was essentially operating as an intelligence officer to infiltrate this party. Upon being a member of the party, an infiltrator, and he was obviously operating underneath what was in the Weimar Republic, weak social democrat structure, which Germany was not ready for culturally because it just came from being run by, a Prussian tradition, the Kaiser. And so as a result, he said, you know what, these ideas that you guys have, I agree with them. And there were many who did. There were the Freikorps, the former soldiers who were roaming Germany and posed quite a threat to public safety and drove unrest. And through his gifts of speaking and organizing and leadership, which is ironic because he was passed over for promotion in the military due to lack of leadership. It shows you how idiotic bureaucrats are. He then grew a small party that was on the fringes to a massive party, honestly, the likes of which we've not seen since in terms of its efficacy, its ability to organize people in propaganda. He put together the Dream Team, Joseph Goebbels, Himmler, Goering, and many more. The idea that a Hitler level of talent comes around frequently is ludicrous. And so I would actually challenge that though he was a wicked man, he was a brilliant man. And if it were not him, probably we would not have seen someone rise up and do what he did, because there have been many dictators. And so maybe there would have been a dictator, but would he have been a vicious anti-Semite? Would he have been an extraordinary racist? And most importantly, would he have been effective at that level? I challenge no, absolutely not. There's not one person who could have replaced him in that particular country. I yield the floor.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I can see your point, but I mean, of course, there's no way we could ever know because history's only happened in a certain way. But I think you'd agree that the circumstances.
Well, no, there are ways we could know because history is in the past, which means it can be studied. You can analyze the elements and then speak to them. There are many other persons who could have risen up during that time. So I just recounted I just recounted a great deal of historical fact. You can probably tell by the way I spoke to it. And you're countering me with no facts, no references, no mentions of history, no mentions of actual circumstances. In fact, you've been inaccurate. You stated that there was a famine in Germany, which was not the issue there. So what I'm challenging you on is the idea that you're unfamiliar with the history. You're unfamiliar with what it actually takes to be a leader or the unique circumstances and the unique talents of Hitler that allowed him to rise up in that particular society. The reason I mentioned Lenin is because similar to Hitler, he's a unique level of talent. He's a unique mind. For example, he is a genius, there's no doubt. But when the Russian Revolution occurred, he was actually in exile. It was the Germans who put him on a SEAL train and sent him back to Russia to have a disruptive force among their enemies. And he took over the revolution from the Soviets because he was that good of an ideologist and as an organizer and an influencer. And then he built the foundations of what still affects us today. He was unique, which is to say the revolution had already occurred without Lenin. And then he took it over because he was that damn good. He called the others and who are communists, he called them Mensheviks, which means minority. He called himself the Bolsheviks, even though they were in fact not the majority. He's a unique mind, a unique level of propagandist, an excellent thinker. He modified Marxism to, you call it Leninist Marxism or the reverse, however you like. But the point is, he's a unique mind. So if you pulled him out of that society, you would not have had the same procession. If you pull an Adolf Hitler out of Germany, you would have had another guy raise up as a dictator, sure, but it would not have gone the same way.
I mean, after the Treaty of Versailles, after World War I, I mean, I just truly believe that. I think there would have been at least one.
You're saying believe. Give the examples. Give the conditions, the historical conditions. Name some people. Like, give me some. Like, you're just talking about you feel, you
there's no way we
believe.
can know, because of course it only happened the way that happened where Hitler and World War II, that's the way it happened. So unless we go back and
okay, are you noticing that I keep referencing specific things in history, but you're not referencing anything in the history, which is written, by the way, the history is written.
Yeah, I came to talk about Charlie Kirk, so I mean it's kind of moved off topic. I wasn't coming to debate, you know.
Yes, but when you talk about Charlie Kirk, we're going through logic, right? We're going to use some logic and reasoning, and often you will refer to history, because they say if you don't know your history, you don't understand the present and the future, because history repeats itself. And what we're talking about with Charlie Kirk, to remind you, since you're not holding it all together in your mind, Charlie Kirk was a hate teacher, a hate preacher. And in as much as that's the case, I'm telling you that in history, we've seen before what happens when you allow a hate teacher not to be killed when they are small and ineffective, but when they grow in their influence, they can create lots of trouble, mass murder. So I'm saying to you, maybe this is a situation wherein we prevented a Hitler, we prevented a Pol Pot, we prevented these kinds of, do you know who Pol Pot is?
Yeah, he orchestrated the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia. He essentially
mass murder. Correct. Yeah, mass murder. So what I'm pointing out to you is that maybe it was the prevention of that, but you not being steeped in history, you're unable to track the arguments because you're not familiar with the history. And then what's worse, in your inability to track the history because of ignorance, which is a choice in 2025, then you cannot apply the lesson to the present and understand how Charlie Kirk, being a hate teacher, could evolve into something that's even more detrimental for human society, particularly Black folks in America, which you're not a Black person in America, right?
I'm not, but
okay, right. So probably you're a little bit more disconnected from the threat because it's not as familiar, because you would have had to study the history. You maybe have never had a grandmother who was beaten by racist white folks in the South, or even an uncle that was beaten by a racist police department, not in the South, in San Diego. So you don't maybe have a Fingerspitzengefühl, nor do you know the history. So you're completely disconnected and you're speculative.
I mean, being in the UK, of course, there's a lot of racism here. In fact, Charlie Kirk.
Is Charlie Kirk British?
He's not, but he.
Okay, is he operating in Britain most of the time?
It does have an effect here, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, is he operating in Britain most of the time?
He's not. Okay,
so you guys are a backwater, is what you are now. That's the problem, is that the UK has not been an empire since like before World War I. So you guys are a backwater. You're a small, irrelevant island that still attempts to exercise influence. Your culture is what like comes out of like the toilet of America. So I get what you're saying, but what I'm telling you is that you're not the center of things. So you're talking about, yeah, it has a reverberation there, but this is the center of where it's going down. This is where people will, like, if Charlie Kirk has his like creates a racist movement, it's not going to be in the UK. It's going to be in the United States, right? Like for example, that's like you being in Austria and saying, oh yeah, I know what's going on in Germany. Cool. But Hitler took over Germany first. So they need to worry about that in Germany, number one. Maybe it might spread, but if we can deal with this in Germany, maybe we don't have to deal with it in Austria. We don't have to deal with it other places. Does that make sense?
No, I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
You do raise a good point. I mean, Charlie Kirk has said that the Civil Rights Act was, not good. He said multiple other things, that Martin Luther King was a mythological anti-racist, like verbatim. I agree with you. You said a lot of terrible things. So I guess my follow-up question would be, do you think what happened to him was okay? Because, I mean, I still just don't believe that that's ever acceptable to, do that to someone. Obviously, you seem to disagree. So I'm curious as to what your solution would be to people like him who perhaps hate monger, perhaps spread lies, even if they are racist lies. What would your solution be?
I'm a true believer in freedom of speech. So I think everyone has the freedom to speak. I don't believe there should be a such thing as hate crimes. I think it's a strange concept. I believe that if you have proper laws on the books, laws for assault, laws for murder, laws for things like this, you don't need hate crimes. It's an unnecessary enhancement. So a Charlie Kirk would be permitted to speak. The fundamental solution to a Charlie Kirk is not to stop people from speaking. It's not to have draconian laws. It is to have a properly educated populace so that when people hear something that's patently foolish, they can say, oh, this guy's an idiot. Instead of saying, oh, okay, well, I see how that makes sense. Well, the reason that people listen to a Charlie Kirk and they can't put together how idiotic his arguments are is because they're uneducated. They're woefully uneducated. And that's the chief problem. And my driving force is to get to the root causes so that we can have real solutions or real fruit, right? We deal with the root and then it will bear fruit. The problem is that so often we deal with the outcomes as opposed to the true causes. And Charlie Kirk is not good for Black people. He's not good for white people. He's not good for thinking people. And my challenge to a Charlie Kirk, if I was speaking to him right now, is after he finishes telling me how Black women are fat, and they are, after he finishes telling me how Black people are intellectually inferior, after he finishes telling me how Black people are violent, which is an extraordinary claim coming from anyone who's white, after he finished, unless you're from like Albania or something, places that haven't had a significant empire or colonial footprint, after he finishes that, then I'd say, okay, let's take all of those things as true. I have no need to argue against any of it. Let's say Black people are low IQ. Let's say that Black women are fat. What are you doing to fix it? And so you, as a Charlie Kirk acolyte, I'm going to put the question to you. What did Charlie Kirk do to fix the challenges that he describes Black people having?
What has he done to fix them? I mean, I don't believe he would personally want to fix them. Obviously, I think he was most definitely racist. But
okay. So the real challenge is this: you have me, the one who I can see what's going on. So the question isn't what to do with Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's done, clocked out. But the real question is what to do with you, my boy. What to do with you? Because you fence sitters, you overseers. Do you know what an overseer is?
As in someone who watches over other people?
No, the overseer.
What do you mean as in relation to racial?
When some of the whites in America enslaved all of the Blacks in America, and they would force them to toil from sun up to sundown under harsh circumstances, there was someone called an overseer who would enforce that everyone was doing as the enslaver told them to do. No breaks, no complaints, focus on your work, nigga. The overseer, of course, would crack the whip. He would report to the master. He was the one that collaborates with white supremacy. He's an apologist of the system, a defender of the system. He's not a slave master. He ain't up that high. He's not the slave master. He's not even in the slave master's family. He's not benefiting directly, but he speaks on behalf of the slave master. He speaks to validate the system and uphold its existence, to maintain its life, just like you speak to maintaining Charlie Kirk's life. So you would be the overseer. So the question is, for the peoples who would like to live free, the good peoples, what do we do with you?
I mean, addressing what you're saying, listen, obviously Charlie Kirk said a lot of bad things, but you got to understand that.
No. You're about to say something else. I'm saying, what do we do with you?
What do you do with people like me who you believe are overseers? Who
not you, we. No, what do we? Those who would like to live free and peaceful, what do we do with you?
Have I said anything that you think?
I'm not asking you that. I'm just asking, what do we do with you?
What's the context of the question? Like,
I just told you. I just said you are the overseer. I explained everything clearly, and I'm saying, what do we do with you?
I disagree with the premise of your statement. I don't believe I'm an overseer. I don't believe.
I understand you don't believe that you're an overseer. Just like, for example, Muslims, they don't believe that Jesus is God, and Christians don't believe that Jesus is not God. They have different beliefs, and you accept what the other's belief is. So I'm accepting what your beliefs are, But I'm saying, what do we do with you? Like, if you are what I said you are, what do we do with you?
Again, I'm going to stick with the same premise that I had coming on, in that debate is always the way. I don't know if you're trying to lead me towards an answer that's more extreme, but I always believe in, if you disagree with someone, you can point it out and make them look, and you can make them look bad, or you can show them that they're wrong, or show the audience that what they're saying is silly or doesn't make sense.
Yes.
I don't know if your statement is that there should be something more severe that happens to people who you believe are overseers, rather than just pointing that out and demonstrating it to people.
What is your name, young man?
Ade.
Ade. Ade. Ade, I want you to know your nature is beautiful. It's soft. It's open. It's caring. It's accepting. It's loving. And Ade, your nature in particular is the exact same reason that blacks were enslaved in mass, that blacks were colonized in mass. And you still have the same nature of the black that was victim. And I pray that your nature, your mentality, your culture, and your thinking dies with you. I really do. It's extraordinarily dangerous to a freedom-loving people, but it's great for an enslaver. So if I was Charlie Kirk, I'd love to see black people like you think you can debate me while I'm getting this noose ready. You're going to debate me? No. Let me tell you 3 reasons you shouldn't string me up in that tree, boss. While I'm getting the whip ready to lash across your back. Let me tell you 3 reasons you shouldn't enslave me again. Because debate works, right? That's, if we're Palestinian, we can debate the Zionists because debate works. Monsters with no morality, debate works. Let's explain to Netanyahu why they should not take the land of the Palestinians. Let's debate Netanyahu on why it's not good to kill children. Because debate is, you just explain, and then the monster's like, oh, like, for sure. I now have changed my mind. I agree with you, little black guy from UK, but really from what, Nigeria? Where your folks from Nigeria? Where are they from? Ghana?
See, living in the UK.
Is it Ghana? Where is it? Nigeria. I'm good. Damn, I'm good. I'm really good. Marquette is the greatest. So yes, little black guy who's from UK, but you're really, to me, Charlie Kirk, you're really just Nigerian. So little Nigerian guy, yeah, you've persuaded me because I look at you as a human. Yeah, I look at you as equal to me, the white guy who's constantly explaining how you're inferior. And because I view you as an equal to me, the one that I call low IQ, I'm going to let you, the low IQ one, explain things to me and persuade me in a debate to treat you like a human, even though I fundamentally don't think that you're a worthwhile human. That makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. Do you not ever sound insane to yourself, or is that just to me you sound insane? Do you ever listen damn, I don't sound realistic?
I'm being honest. I genuinely don't think what I'm saying is bad. I think it's genuinely
yes. Well, let me tell you this.
But I just
let me tell you this.
Mentally, people
like you, with love, because I don't think you're an evil person. I just think that stupidity is evil, and as much as that is the case, you are just as dangerous as Charlie Kirk, who is just as dangerous as Adolf Hitler. To be the one who is the enslaver, clearly dangerous. To be the one who is the overseer for the enslaver, ooh, insidious, nasty work. It's nasty work because some people might look at you, Ade, or whatever. I don't know. You're Nigerian. You're not white. You don't have a white name. I can't say your name because it's not white. It's like Nigerian. So since we're not Nigeria, I'll just pretend as though I can't pronounce it, since I'm a white supremacist. So people like you, you're nasty work because some blacks might look at you and think you're one of them, but really you're one of me. You're my spawn. You're my creation. And I appreciate you. Are you a Christian?
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you. Does your mom have a white Jesus in her house? Picture. Be honest. Somewhere you've seen a white Jesus in your mom's house. Be honest.
No, but we do go to church. I mean,
okay, the white Jesus is in your church. Okay, very nice. But you don't think your mom has a white Jesus anywhere in the house?
No, not that I
That's
know.
damn it. We didn't get you as good as we could have. But you go to church Sundays and you worship a white Jesus, right?
I mean, Christianity was there before.
No, I'm just asking. In your church, is there a white Jesus?
No, there's not a picture of white Jesus. It's
I mean, you said you don't have to start lying now. You just said that there was a white Jesus. There's not
no. There's no white Jesus. But I know the point you're making is that.
I thought we had you all the way. I know. Because our effort is to rob you of what you are. We don't want you to follow the ism. Be yourself. Be good to yourself. Be good to good people. Be yourself. We don't want you to know who you are, nigga. Nigga, we want you to be just like us. Nigga, if you have a unique name, like a Nigerian name, we want you to have a name like John, Paul, James, a white biblical name, an English name, an anglicized name. And if your name is not one of those things, then we will pretend as though we cannot pronounce it, nigga. So what is your name, nigga? What's your name?
My name is Ade, but
no, your name is Toby. What is your name?
Okay, I see what
no, your name is Toby. What is your name?
I'm telling you,
It's Toby. It's Toby. Just say Toby. Get the whip. Get the whip. This nigga want to act up. Listen.
Do you think that you are acting like that when you criticize
Toby? Toby, 1 second, Toby. 1 second. Just real quick. Okay. You live in the UK, bruv. You're a Christian, just like the whites in the UK, bruv. You dress like them. What was your religion? Like, what's your tribe? Was it Igbo? Yoruba. Nice, Yoruba. What was their religion before Christianity or Islam?
Games. I think it was some form of polytheistic or
You think?
I looked into it a bit.
You haven't looked into it. Oh, so what you're saying is, Marquette, you're right. They've separated me from what I am. You maybe don't have to follow it, but damn, you don't even know. You don't even know the history of your people. And I'll tell you why it's so sad, Toby. Toby, it's very, very sad because the Black Americans, they were ripped away from their history and they were forced not to know their history. It was robbed of them, knowledge of self. You voluntarily decided to not know who you are, Toby. And the reason you don't know your own religion is because you've taken out the time to learn my religion. Me, I'm Charlie Kirk, the white supremacist, the Christian. And you've taken out time to study my religion, but you didn't study your own. That's fascinating, Toby. Do you speak Yoruba?
No.
Toby. So you're telling me in 2025, where you could very much so have like a second language, speak Yoruba and English, you're like, my history, it's irrelevant. I don't need that. I don't need to know my own religion. I don't need to know the history of the land from which I come. I don't need to speak the language of my forefathers. I'd rather just pretend they don't exist. Toby, you are me. Say it with me. I am white.
I mean, I understand what you're saying.
No. Just say it. I am white. Okay, just real quick. Okay, try this. This might feel better. Say, I am a white supremacist.
No,
you are. Toby, say it. I am a white supremacist.
How is criticizing? I mean,
gosh,
you believe
that's a shame. I'm just trying to get you, Toby. I'm just trying to get you to the truth.
I mean, I'm being.
You're our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, the truth, the light, and the something else.
Black people too. It doesn't make you an overseer or white supremacist just because.
What was that?
I mean, you criticize Black people too, like trying to.
I do criticize Black people, Toby, but you know what I don't do? Do you know what I don't do, Toby?
What?
I don't come on as a mouthpiece for white supremacists who hate Black people. That's number one, Toby. And then number two, Toby, I do not criticize Black people without also lifting them up. So I might chastise with one hand and lift up with the other hand. And both are needed. But what I don't do the work of the devil, Toby. I do God's work, but I don't do the work of the devils. I don't criticize Black people and speak the talking points of white supremacists. And what I also don't do is I don't shed my own culture in favor of the culture of another people. There's nothing wrong with Christianity if you're a white Christian. There's nothing wrong with speaking great English if you're an Englishman. There's nothing wrong with any of the things I pointed out if you're Charlie Kirk. But if you're a Black person who's from Nigeria knows not the language of the Yoruba, knows not the history, not the religion, it would seem as though you're just another lost nigga and they've taken everything from you and you let them. You study what they have for you to learn, but you didn't try to figure out who you are. You figured out who they are. You know it perfectly, but you know not who you are. It's a shame. You don't think like, damn, this is kind of embarrassing. I had the opportunity to learn who I am. It's as simple as a Google study and a YouTube video, but I didn't take out the time because I don't care about me. That doesn't blow your mind?
I mean, there's not much you can do looking at the history of Nigeria. And the British came to Nigeria, and that's where they got all of the people who they brought to America. So they kind of colonized Nigeria. And Nigeria,
are you suggesting that Nigerian history started with British colonization?
No, it didn't. But the way colonization works is they, replace the culture, they destroy the culture. They do in like India, for example.
Oh, fascinating.
The British went to India, founded the East Indian Company, looted it, extrapolated the resources, and they did the same in Nigeria.
I'll tell you the difference, though. I know many Indian people. I've had many Indian business partners and employees, and I've even laid with some gorgeous Indian women. I don't know one Indian person who does not speak a language that is from India. They're going to speak Hindi. They're going to speak something. I do not know one person that does not speak a language that is from India who is Indian. Did you know that? I bet all the Indian people you know as well probably speak Hindi or something else that's from India. Furthermore, I don't know one Indian person who is not practicing a religion that is not in India. Like most of the ones I know, could just be me, they are Hindu or they're practicing a religion that makes them a vegetarian, and they have all this like what's the other lovely religion it's escaping me right now? It's a great book. Sikhs. I know Indians who are Sikhs. I know Indians who are Hindu. These are Indian religions, my boy, even after colonialism. But you, nigga, Toby, you seem like you just really latched on to colonialism. Here's the difference. When they're forcing it on you, that's one thing. But when they're not forcing it on you and you're saying, feed me more white supremacy, and you're seeking it out and studying it and worshiping it every Sunday, nigga, that's you. That's not the British, nigga. You ain't getting colonized right now, nigga. You're colonizing yourself. So your example makes literally no sense, because truth be told, if I had the great privilege of being, say, Yoruba or Igbo or Xhosa or Zulu or anything you could name, I'd be a scholar of that. I'd also be a scholar of the British. I mean, were a brilliant people, but I'd for sure know my history, because it's a privilege to have a history like yours wasn't erased. So you don't have it because you're lost, and you also won't admit that you're lost and then start trying to become found. You're not going to find yourself unless you search. But you're telling me that Nigerian history begun with British colonization, and that's extraordinary. And the reason, Toby, I knew only lost niggas would show up, because real niggas don't support a Charlie Kirk. They damn sure don't defend a Charlie Kirk. Now, a real nigga might not celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk. That's kind of crazy. But they damn sure ain't going to show up and try to show out for somebody who viewed them as little more than an incompetent, overweight, violent monkey. You should be ashamed to even show up to defend something like that.
I mean, that's your opinion.
No, those are called the facts, actually. But like the facts, like you don't know your religion, you don't know your real language, you don't know your own history. Those are called the facts, Toby.
But it's a matter of like assimilation when you move into a country or you move to another
assimilation.
Country.
No, I'll tell you what assimilation is. I have some great examples of assimilation. For example, I know a gorgeous Ukrainian woman I used to deal with. Beautiful. She moved into Poland and she is assimilated. She speaks a little bit of Polish. She eats pierogies and, is blended into the society quite well. She's not adopted their religion. She has not forgotten how to speak Ukrainian, and she still thinks Ukrainian food is better and cooks Ukrainian food from scratch. Assimilation is not you releasing that which you are, Toby. Come on now. Come on, Toby. Listen, you don't have to fight it, because when you're fighting this truth that I'm sharing, all I'm trying to do is bring you back to you. I'm trying to introduce you to you, nigga. But you're fighting me so hard, like, boy, Marquette, God damn it, I will not be black. I will not be Nigerian. I will not figure out what is Yoruba. What's the language? What's the history? What's the religion? No, I am an Englishman. I'm an Englishman, darling. Pip, 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 cheerio. Let's have tea and crumpets. Do you not think that there's a good number of white folks in UK or America, Charlie Kirk fans, that look at you as little more than an incompetent, violent, aggressive ape? Are you aware of that?
I don't doubt that there's some people are extreme in their rhetoric and extreme in their beliefs, but fundamentally what I'm saying is that, as I said, it's a Malaysian.
You keep escaping the truth, but I'm saying, do you not realize that most of Charlie Kirk's viewers look at you that way?
I mean,
it's hard to accept, huh?
Amount do, but no, I wouldn't say majority.
Oh, you wouldn't say the majority. You see, the challenge, the reason that you're blind is because when you're around, they don't say it. They wait till you leave. That's why you're a little bit deluded. You see, you think that you're the same. You think that you're one of them. Like, yeah, we're conservatives. And I'm not a liberal. They're psychopaths. But you think that you're like one of the boys. And when you leave, they talk about you and they don't invite you to certain things. You think that the British, who colonized all of the colored peoples, including your people, you think now they think that you, the colonial subject, is equal to them? You believe that?
I mean, as I said, some people don't, some do. There's, of course,
yes, but we're talking about Charlie Kirk and his supporters. You see consistently he spoke ill of blacks like you, right?
He's debated multiple times with her. You know, a couple of years ago, they went on a tour to college campuses and debated. You don't think he'd see her as an equal?
So, wow, you're very hopeful. You're very hopeful. I like that. You're very hopeful. So I just want you to know, and I want everyone watching to know, you're a sweet young man. You're a very hopeful, loving young man. But ignorance and stupidity is evil. And it is upon good men to eradicate evil. And just as dangerous as an Adolf Hitler or a Charlie Kirk, you are as dangerous, but probably worse, because you look like us, but you are not on our team. You're not on our side. And that's why I want everyone watching to know that I always tell you guys that the ism is not a racial thing. I'm not for black people. I'm for good people, because there's some black people who are not good people, like Lil Nas X, you. And it's not because you're malicious. It's because you're so lost, young man. And you will never be found, because the inferiority has been pushed into you so deeply. It saddens me, really, because you can't be saved. You're too far gone, because you would sit here and argue on behalf of your colonizer, argue on behalf of your enslaver. You're not talking about a regular white guy. Like, for example, I've done business with a lot of white women, white men. I have friends who are white women, hell, I have people in my family who are white people. And any one of them I would defend on the basis of their goodness. Yes. But if they were a racist and they're spewing out hatred about black people, never helping any black person, I would never defend them. And those are people I know. Those are people I'm actually familiar with. But you set out to defend a stranger who hates you. And that just shows us what you think of yourself. You hate yourself as well.
I've got one final thing to say, in that, you know, I understand what you're saying, but, you know.
No. You don't understand. But you've heard me. You heard me. You can say, I heard what you said, but you understand.
I heard you, but they do say some things. For example, in the USA, like a black person is they have an 88% chance of being, you know, killed by another black person. So, for example, like criticizing their own community, trying to help black people and change the culture so that they're not, you know, hurting each other, killing each other, and actually trying to be better. These are things that, you know, people like Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens do say.
Wait, do you really think Charlie Kirk cares about black people killing black people? You believe that?
I mean, if he's pointing out statistics that are true, that, you know, a certain percentage of the population but committing a large proportion of the crimes, and fundamentally.
Let me ask you a question. And really, they got to improve the educational system over there. And this is precisely why I started off. I said that education is hugely important for solving the Charlie Kirk situation. Let me destroy that statistic real quick. Number one, it's goofy for a number of reasons. You don't even need facts. You can just use logic. Let's use a bit of logic. Take a wild guess. Do blacks live mostly around Asians, Arabs, whites, or blacks? A, B, C, or D? What do you think?
Other blacks.
Oh, they live around other blacks, but that wouldn't be unique, because Do you think that maybe whites live mostly among whites? Would you say that? Would you think that maybe Indians live mostly around Indians? Would you think that?
That's true.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, great. So if you see crime happening, it would mostly be blacks doing it to blacks merely because they live among one another, right?
Yeah, that's true. But
okay, great. So that's destroyed. That's idiocy. Now let me show you how biased you are.
Amount of crime that
1 second, young man. Let me show you how biased you are. Now, you said 80% of crimes.
88% of black people are murdered by other black people.
88% of black people. It looks like you're reading right now.
No, I'm not on another screen. I can see right now. Like that's just I've researched. I've looked at it before. And
okay, it's just that I could see like you usually have two different focus points, and you were
using. I was just looking at the chat because it's on the side.
Oh, you're looking at the chat. Okay, fantastic. Stay here, stay focused. You're gonna need your focus here. I promise you. So, what percentage? Now hit me with that percentage one more time, just real quick.
88%.
88% what?
Of black people are killed by other black people.
Okay, 88% of black people are killed by other black people. Very good. Now, without looking at your screen or looking at the chat or researching, what percentage of white people are killed by other white people?
I believe it's around. I think it's around a similar percentage. I don't know exactly, but
I don't. I know. Why is it? No, real quick. Why is it you seem to be able to marshal the statistics of the bad things the blacks do? And I just said simply, let's look at the analog. What percentage of whites are killed by whites? And then all of a sudden you're like, that doesn't strike you as like, well, geez, I can't be a rational person. Like the most basic assumption would be to check the analog, right? To check the counter. It'd be the most basic thing. Why didn't you do that?
But my point was they're coming in.
No, I didn't ask you what your point is. I asked you, why did you not do the basic thing of checking the other side?
Because looking at black people, I'm only focused on them. I'm not focusing on.
You're only focused on black people. Why are you only focused on black people?
I mean, as a black person, I think it's.
Oh, let me help you out. You're not a black person, Toby. Number one, you're looking at crime data, supposedly, from the United States of America. Those are foundational black Americans. That's a different ethnic group. You're a fucking Nigerian, young man. So that is comparable to someone being Chinese and saying, well, you're not a foundational black American. You're Chinese. You're from a totally different place. So why are you so concerned with what's going on with the foundational black American? Are you a foundational black American?
I mean, not by the definition. No, I'm in the UK.
No, there's not. What do you mean by definition? You're not in any way. You have no connection to the foundational black American. That's like saying an Italian and a German are the same because they're both white. They're not the same. Would you agree?
No, the same.
Yeah, no, they're not the same. One's Italian, one's German. They're different ethnic groups. Categorically, yes, they're both white, but they're unrelated. And in fact, when you take the British, since you're in UK, the British and the Germans, they're both white, correct?
Yeah.
But they're not the same, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. So you're a Nigerian. I'm a foundational black American. We're not the same. So why the hell are you so concerned about what we're doing?
I was just bringing up the point in that.
I'm asking you, why are you so concerned with what we're doing? Because you're not us.
There's definitely some analogs and some, comparisons between.
There are no analogs because you're totally a different culture. You're Nigerian. I'm foundational black American. Someone's German, someone's British. Those are different cultures. We're not the same. So you have no reason to be concerned with what we're doing. That's number one. The reason you picked that up is because we're both black and you hate your blackness. And you can express that through Charlie Kirk. And that's been implanted in you and you know not. Now, understand this. Here's the other point, because Charlie Kirk has more of a reason to talk about it than you. He's at least an American. He's at least in the same damn country, and he can pretend that our affairs affect him, which they don't, because you yourself said 80% of black people are murdered by black people, which means that black on black crime is the issue, not black on white crime. So white people probably don't have a big issue because they live among themselves. Now, that was obliterated, and also I exposed you for being an unreasonable racist, which is to say, if you were a reasonable person, you probably would have at the basics said, well, white people commit white on white crimes at this rate. which is different than the blacks, but you didn't even do the basic research on that. Number one. Then if you were really smart, like I told you in our last session, to be more prepared, you would have showed up and said, oh, in addition to that, I also can tell you that the ethnic Chinese, they commit Chinese on Chinese violence at just 17%, which lets you know that there is a problem within said community because there's a huge disparity. But you didn't do your research because you didn't want to do the research. Why didn't you want to do the research? Because you need that narrative of black people being impulse uncontrolled animals. That's why you didn't do the research, young man, because you're in an era where it's easier than ever to do research. Now, let me finish breaking you down like Legos. Dig this. In addition, you want to talk all of this stuff about, violence, the blacks are violence. This is your Charlie Kirk talking point, young man. How many people have whites murdered?
In all of history?
However you want to take it. All of history, since America started, last week, let's rewind a little bit. I'm gonna make it easier. These are setups. I've already thought 10 moves ahead. I'm just setting you up real quick. So walk with me, young man. What's the definition of murder?
Unjustified killing of another human being.
Unjustified. Who decides if it's justified?
It depends on the person. I mean, you can look at it from a legal standpoint, or more, it depends. But
okay, so let's take a legal standpoint. Legal, meaning laws. Laws come from what? Governments, correct?
Yep, correct.
Great. Now, if you were under the Nazi government, which was in fact a government, would you agree?
Yes.
Then the murder of all of the people who will remain nameless, the small hats, murdered 6 million of them. That was murder according to the law, which was justified by the government, meaning it was okay. So it wasn't murder then by your definition. Do you realize that? Do you realize just by your definition, meaning unjustified murder according to the law, if the Nazis are the government and they say that it's okay to kill these people, then it's justified. And this is not new in European history, right? Colonialism that's all of colonialism, which means that your crime statistics never account for the murder of the ruling class. It's not murder when they do it. It's murder when you do it, Toby. But when they do it, it's justified. Just like you said, you're a good lapdog for them. Do you understand the logic that I just broke down for you, or is it confusing? I can run it back if you need me to.
I mean, I understand, but you didn't let me say my main point.
No. I'm just saying. So you do understand. You understand how the crime statistics get cooked. For example, Donald Trump murdered some people on a boat recently, right? Supposedly coming out of Venezuela, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Was that murder or was that justified?
Legally, it would be justified considering it was a government.
I'm asking you, was it justified or was it murder?
I mean, personally, I would say it was murder. I wouldn't say that's justifiable to do that to people, but from his standpoint, that would have been.
Yeah, it's really tough, you see, because the ruling class, your white supremacists, when they do it, it is justified. And when they do it, it's not accounted in the crime statistics because they decide who the criminal is. And it's you, nigga. It's not them. You see, I bet you there's no crime statistics on murder with regards to the murder of the Native Americans. We don't know how many they killed. Kind of hard to count, probably. How many Africans did they kill? Just transporting Africans to the New World. We don't know, but even if we did know, it's not considered murder because you guys are not humans. You're not your property, your chattel. How many people were killed once blacks were recognized as humans? Do we have the data on it? Interesting. So what I'm pointing out to you, young man, is that you would follow Charlie Kirk, who's trying to suggest that there's something wicked in the black DNA that makes them so violent. And that's why they have these terrible, unfavorable statistics that show that they're killers. Yet you would observe whites like Ukrainians. Would you say Ukrainians are white? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say that Russians are white? Yes or no?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, great. Thanks for using reality. I appreciate it. Now, they're killing each other, right? They're calling it war. But one of those sides is not justified. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of those sides is committing murder, right?
Yeah, according to my...
Okay, great. Now, do you think that they're counting that as murder and crime statistics anywhere on Earth?
It depends. I mean, Russia.
No, dummy. They're not counting it as. I can't even ask you guys questions when you people come on here. Of course, they're not counting it as murder. They're calling it war and they're calling it justified. Just like the Europeans who call themselves Israelis are killing the kids in Gaza. Are they calling that murder? No, they're calling it war. That's what they do. They lie. Their chief tool is deception. And in their lies, you can never account for what they're actually doing. And that's how Charlie Kirk fools people like you. The American government goes into, which is to say white supremacists, goes into Iraq, mass murder. They go into Afghanistan, mass murder. They go into Syria, mass murder. They go into Libya, mass murder. They caused the Ukraine-Russia war, mass murder. They support what's going on in Palestine, mass murder. Now, point is, none of it do they count in crime statistics as murder. None of it. But they have a bloodthirst, these people. There's something in their DNA that causes them to kill because they've never stopped killing, my dear boy. They've been on a killing spree. My whole life, your whole life, your grandmother's whole life. But that's not in the crime statistics. So you Charlie Kirk acolyte, so you tell me, what are the crime statistics on those wars that I put out? Like white people killing people in an organized, efficient fashion. It's not in the crime statistics. Do you understand my point?
Yeah. I think that's,
do you because you use the term justified, do you recall that most of the countries on earth said that the invasion of Iraq was unjustified? So by your definition, everyone who died in Iraq as a result of the American presence would have been murdered, which would make it a crime, an international crime, in fact, a crime against humanity, in my opinion. That being the case, is that going to show up in crime statistics that Charlie Kirk uses?
Most likely not.
Of course not, because they redefine things. They redefine things to change the game, to move the goalposts, to lie. And they've been doing that forever. That's why you believe they're superior, because they lied to you. That's why you believe you are inferior, Toby, because they lied to you and you believe the lie. You carry their book every Sunday and you think you're a Christian. That's the same religion that enslaved millions of black people throughout the world. Do you know that?
Yeah, but Christianity.
You ever read Ephesians?
Pardon?
You ever read Ephesians in the good book?
I read verses in Ephesians, but.
Oh, you ever read the verse in Ephesians that says, follow your earthly masters?
But you're kind of isolating it to the transatlantic slave trade when, you know, Christianity existed long before that. I'm
just asking you a question about Christianity, and you're kind of running from it because it seems though you're trying to protect your white supremacist religion that justifies enslavement.
Just because they used it in a bad way. Of your people. But that would mean they used it in a bad way. They used Christianity in a bad way. It doesn't make Christianity itself.
Oh, you're okay. So Christianity is not bad. It just justifies slavery explicitly. And it was used directly in the institution of slavery, including slave ships named Jesus. Did you know that? There were slave ships named Jesus. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. No.
Now you know, little buddy. Use Google every now and then. Because I promise you, the white supremacists will not teach you your history in their schools. They won't do that to you. But anyways, I think you've been fried up enough, and there's no helping anyone like you. It's just really casting pearls to swine. But I still love you, though, young man. That does not mean I would not split your wig. Anyways, you have anything to close with?
No. I appreciate you for giving me your time.
No, absolutely. It's always a pleasure. It just hurts me that one day when the revolution pops off, we're going to have to lay you down. It really does hurt me. But I tell you what, we will give you a proper Christian burial. Courtesy of yours truly. Peace of the saints.
I'll see you.